Hey, you're very welcome back. Joe Molloy here. Johnny Ward is with us as well. Happy to bring in former Republic of Ireland manager Brian Kerr. Hiya, Brian.
Hey, Joe. Hey, John.
Great to have you with us. So, first competitive win for Stephen Kenny in 12 games. Much needed, to say the least. And 3-0 puts a nice sheen on the scoreline as well. What did you make of the performance?
Well, I think like everyone else that follows Irish football, I was delighted we got a win. Delighted that it wasn't too nervy at the end and we weren't hanging on. And it was a kind of a certain relief about it, the fact that we're not going to be, it doesn't look like we're going to be scrapping to finish last in the group. I thought the performance was overall was quite good. And I wouldn't be too upset about the fact that they got numerous chances in the game and that we had the spell in the match before we got the second goal. After we scored the first goal, that period from maybe 10 minutes into 35, where they were on top and getting through us in midfield quite easily, and it was some desperate defending and blocked shots that kept them out from equalising. I wouldn't be over concerned about that, because that's like international football, and where we're at the moment that was to be expected, I'd say. And in the end, it was comfortable enough, and we should have wrapped it up in the second half with numerous chances to get a third goal. Before they had another little spell when Gavin Bazunu made two brilliant saves, and then at the end, another brilliant joint save between Duffy and Bazunu again to keep them out from scoring at 3-0. But, overall, relief, I suppose, is my main kind of feeling about it, that Stephen got a win, and that we're not reviewing another dicky performance or sad tale of a late goal to rescue a draw, or the concession of a late goal to lose the match, as happened in Portugal. 2 late goals, in fact, to lose the game.
You mentioned Bazunu there. His kickouts, for instance, caught the eye. He pretty much went past halfway with, I would say, at least 90% of them. Was there a touch more pragmatism on show here last night?
Yeah, well, we did the analysis on Virgin last night. It's often a bit helter-skelter because we're trying to get ready for, as it was last night, for the England game. But we were watching the game closely, myself and Damien Delaney, and from the outset, we're looking at that. We're looking at this, image that was portrayed to us, that we were always going to be building it up from the back, and we're going to be persistent with it. But we weren't last night. It was sensible, because you see how it's developing now, Joe. I kind of said this going back a good while. I thought Stephen misread how difficult international football was going to be in his earliest statements about how the team was going to play, that we were going to dominate the thirds of the pitch, we were going to control possession in all the areas of the pitch. It isn't that easy. It just ain't that easy, because the opposition look at how you're going to play. They analyse you as much as you analyse them, and they say, all right, so that's how they play. Well, will we let them play it out in the back and come up to the middle third and then challenge them? Or in the case of Azerbaijan last night, say, oh no, we're not having that. We're going to go up and try and press you and force mistakes, the sort of mistake that led to the concession of the penalty against Portugal, if you're going to play it out. So they put 5 up the pitch and invited us to try and play out through. And the decision had obviously been made in advance, I would say, of the match, not to risk that situation of giving the ball away close to our own goal. And Gavin Bazunu kicked the ball well. I didn't think Adam Haidar did very well in terms of keeping it. He's not the most physical yet. He's still a young boy, or young man rather, and wasn't winning many flick-ons, getting bumped off it when it was played long. But we did pick up the second ball at times, which is very important when you're going to play that long one. But where your stats are right, I don't know, Joe, whether it was 90%, but I would say by far the majority of our kickouts went long. And I thought it was sensible. It was a sensible mix for the game, which I think a lot of people looking at our style over the last while have said that we need to bring that bit of common sense into it, to not be predictable about always trying to build her up through the three splits. Well, as it is now, the three split centre backs. It used to be a back four until Anthony Barry came in, and we began to play with three centre backs before the game in Serbia, I think it was, where that shape was introduced. So we've gradually gone from that, we're going to build her up all the time out in the back, to, right, we don't always build her up out in the back. If we have to play it long and use the kicking of our goalkeeper, and he's very good, whether he kicks it wide or kicks it through the middle, it's usually very close to one of our players, and that's a positive thing.
We spoke, Brian, just before you came on about the midfield, and I think we were in agreement, Joe and I anyway, that we were still really struggling to establish any control or foothold in games, even against Azerbaijan in midfield. What did you make of them?
I didn't hear that bit of the conversation, John, but I was at a match and I was just running back into the house. But what I'd say about that, again, we discussed it last night on our show, and when you played the system we were playing, it was allegedly 3-4-3, but it was actually 5-2-3 once we got ahead in the game. Wing backs McLean and Doherty were back as a 5. So you had the two in front of him, Hendricks and Cullen. Now, we're playing with the 3, and it was a 3. Now, they weren't 3, it wasn't 3 with two wide players. Robinson and Horgan were kind of playing in, kind of off the front. They were almost what I'd describe as the old inside left and inside right positions. There was no wingers outside them. So they're in advanced positions. So once Azerbaijan broke that line or got possession a bit higher up the pitch than where our 3 front players were positioned, that's a tough one for Cullen and Hendricks to survive against that. They have a lot of ground to cover to get out to the wide positions for the advancing wing backs that Azerbaijan are using. And Doherty and McLean seemed reluctant to go up and engage higher up than where our 3 centre-backs were. So I thought there was not a lot of work on the 2 centre midfield players. They're not great players. Hendrick is in a kind of a bit of a no-man's land at the moment now, isn't he? He's playing so little for Newcastle. And there's a reason for that. Obviously, he hasn't done very well. I don't like to say he's been in decline for a few years, but it seems to be since France, since the finals in France, and that spell when Brady and himself and James McCarthy looked like it was going to be the beginnings of a new Ireland dominating midfield, being able to get on the ball and pass the ball. That hasn't happened since his form at Burnley. I thought declined. He was playing less regularly, and since he's gone to Newcastle, he's been playing less regularly. Cullen is an emerging player. What's he now? 25, going on 25, gone on 26. His first real period as a first team player at Anderlecht. I don't know whether he was carrying a knock last night or what it was, but his recovery wasn't great. There was several instances where they got in the front foot, got players in position higher up the pitch. Ozobek, the number 7 there, was running with the ball. Alaskarov, the number 7, is running with the ball. Matt Medev, the goal-scoring guy, he's on the ball. And Cullen seemed to be almost laboured getting back into position to get back to that position in front of the back 5. So I agree with you if you said that we still, in midfield, we still get outplayed. But that's a problem, I think, of the system as well as the quality of the players.
Well, on that, Brian, that's the next question. He never played 3 at the back for Dundalk, and I was gobsmacked that now it seems to have become, the fixture, certainly at the moment. You say the system, so what are the pros and cons of the 3 at the back? And also, obviously, you can play 3-5-2, but the system that you mentioned we play.
Well, I'm laughing because I was never a coach. 3 centre backs. I was always playing forward, no matter what team I had and how weak we were. I might have restructured the midfield to solve a problem at the back.
Yeah.
So I've never really had much. So what's the pros and cons? Well, it's developed into the system, and there's been periods in football. Football is like that, turns and cycles about what system is the best system or the most popular system, and we've seen the emergence of the 3 centre back system coming into play over the last year. And as more teams in the Premier League have started to use it, it seems that more teams at international level, looking at Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, ourselves, suddenly we're all playing with a back three over the last couple of, or a back five in the last few days. And it's interesting to compare us to Wales and Scotland. I think I thought Wales were very good the other night in how they played it. They played with a back five, allowing Czech Republic come onto them. But when they broke out with the ball, they were very good. Then, because of the mistakes early in the second half of the match, sorry, Johnny, I'm going away from what you asked me, but just I think you need to explain this. They went from, they were 1-up, played very well in the first half. Ramsey got a goal. Goalkeeper Ward didn't have anything to do, although the Czech Republic had a fair bit of the ball. And then mistakes. Ward gives away a goal. Second goal, they're suddenly 2-1 down early in the second half, and they have to revise the plan. So what did they do? They became an attacking 3-4-3 all of a sudden. And the right side, the centre back, Meffam came into the game running with the ball and overloading the midfield. And they adapted completely to the situation or where the game was. They were losing, they had to pull something over. And they were rewarded with the goal, and they well deserved the goal. And they changed one of the midfield players. Joe Allen and Morel were doing very well as a defensive unit, supporting the centre backs. But once they lost the goal, the manager Page felt they had to change. They took Morel off, and they went for a more adventurous approach in the middle of the field. Just want to think of the change they brought Conor Roberts on the right side instead of Gunter, and they made another change in the middle of the field. It was more adventurous, and they kind of left Joe Allen to be the sitting player, and they took over the game. Anyway, from there, what's the advantage, disadvantage? Well, the advantage is if you're playing the three centre-backs, if you want to play it out in the back, if you think initially when Stephen was playing before the back, and he had McDoherty and Stevens advanced up the touchlines, and I thought they were too far forward when Egan and Duffy split, or whoever it was with Duffy when it wasn't Egan, it was O'Shea. And the centre-backs were very far split, and the full-backs were pushed high up. And then when the ball was played into midfield, if it was lost, which it was a long way for the recovery for the back four to get in position. We saw that against Finland and Bulgaria. Finland certainly scored goals where we were caught out of position. Duffy didn't cover, didn't get back in quick enough. So when you've got three, there's always a central player there, and the two split are wider. They're in good positions to receive it. They've got more options when they receive it. There's someone outside them, there's someone inside them, and there's an advanced player on the inside. Then they can knock the long one if they want to. It always also gives you more players in the box when the opposition have it. We saw that last night numerous times, Duffy heading the ball away. John Egan got better as the match went on. I thought his tackle on the second goal where he went into midfield and won the ball was vital. Now, you can do that with three, whereas if you two centre-backs, you don't want one of them going into the other half of the pitch winning tackles, or not winning tackles in case and one centre-back left on his own. So that's the advantage of the three, that you need, or you can expect that one of the three can advance with the ball or go in and make tackles. And maybe we didn't do enough of that in the first half when they got to control the game. But as it went on, our three centre-backs and, Andrew Omar Daly was very good at times, good little interceptions, good headers, but Duffy was the outstanding one of the three. Compared to the four, everyone knows the advantage of playing 4-4-2 or 4-3-3, and you've got three players to be together in the middle of the field. Don't need to explain that to you, Johnny, or Joe. But, it's just become, I'm sure the phase of the game will change again, and most teams will go back to playing some combination of four at the back and combinations in the middle.
And to be fair, it doesn't not suit Doherty, and even McLean going forward. That's one of his better games in a while, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought McLean played well. He made a great tackle, saving tackle late in the game. Had he not got it, had he not won it, they'd have free player on the outside. I think it was still at 2-0, and it was a really important tackle. I thought he was more disciplined in his performance last night, apart from one moment in the first half where I think Hogan sold him short with a pass, and they were on the counter. And at one stage, James took 2 seconds out to have a go at Hogan rather than retreat really quickly into the line. I thought other than that, he was much more disciplined and less less wild in his challenges. You know, that aggression that the crowd love in Lansdowne Road, that everyone goes, yeah, you're in there, James, great stuff. But, you know, at times I think it's an over-aggressiveness. It's wild.
Yeah.
It you know, it roils the opposition. It pleases our fans, but also has a referee on his case. And I think his mental discipline dissipates at times, and it doesn't help the team. I think his controlled aggression is very good to him. But I thought he played well. Really good pass on the first goal, on Robinson's goal. Really good pass. Link up with Horgan on the second one. Really good pass to Tottenham Horgan on the second goal. So yeah, and it suits Doherty, but it suits Doherty better because when he plays in the 4 as a full back, I've said it numerous times. He doesn't recover quick enough in the back 4,
and he's almost said it himself. He's almost
you have a bit more, and particularly with the mobility of Obama Daly, he's got someone who's mobile, who's comfortable to go out into the full back position to go on the right. And we saw that with him on the ball last night as well. He's happy to run with the ball a bit when the space opens for you. Go and take it and look comfortable on it. So I think it suits Doherty more than playing in the 4. I think Coleman is better when we play in the 4 than Doherty.
Yeah. So to tease this out of touch then, we're all very happy with Bazunu. That back 3 seems to be working really well with Amabamadeli or Duffy and Egan, and you've Darragh O'Shea waiting in the wings. So
Joe, hold on. Now, that worked well last night.
Okay.
You know, that worked well last night against Azerbaijan.
Do you not think it worked reasonably well in a couple of previous games as well? Do you not think it worked reasonably well in Portugal? Do you not think the Serbian performance...
Yeah, we're on the back foot in Portugal against a good team and back 5 are in place. Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll get to the point of the question.
They're beaten in the end, and the centre-backs didn't do anything with the cross when they come into the box in the end on the 2 goals.
Well,
so
true.
You know, beaten in Serbia.
That fella Ronaldo's good in the air.
Back 3, they scored 3 goals. So you know, hold on here.
Okay, I'll take the point.
And then the other side of that is what Johnny brought up. What about the midfield? Midfield were overrun, but at times by Luxembourg in the midfield. I think we played a 4.
Well, we played a 4 against Luxembourg. We played a 4 against Luxembourg, so that's not the issue.
Overrun by Serbia in midfield. In the 1-1 draw.
Hang on, look, I'm getting to a question here. Okay, jeez, we were sorry. Luxembourg with a 4. We weren't so good. So let's not put it all on the 3 for a second. But let's just say I'm talking in Stephen Kenny's eye here, right? Not you don't have to agree with it, but in Kenny's eye, I'd say he's happy with Bazunu. I'd say he's happy with his 3. I'd say he likes his options wing back as well. Again, I'm talking here, Stephen Kenny. You don't have to agree with it. I'm just trying to tease this out. He's happy with Cullen, clearly. And I'd say Hendrick has done enough. I mean, he was okay at times last night as well on the ball. He had his moments, I know, but he was okay. I'd say Hendrick's done enough to be in there again. I'm curious for your thoughts on what you think he's going to do with those front 3. We can probably safely say Robinson is in. He's going to keep his place. I think we both agree with you. Ida didn't keep the ball well at all last night at times when he should have. And Horgan was taken off at half-time after doing well on a number of previous occasions when he came off the bench. So you've Parrott on the bench and you'd Connolly on the bench last night. That front 3, if we want to call it a front 3, Ida, Robinson certainly will be in, and Horgan. You were still looking for the right, or Kenny, I would say, is still looking for the right trio there. How do you see that in particular?
Right balance.
Yeah, how do you see that trio in particular?
Yeah, he's looking for the right balance in all areas of the pitch and the whole cohesiveness of the side. I thought Horgan, he's always energetic and he gets around well, and he's made an impact when he's come on and sub in several games. I think it was match with Bulgaria he played very well in too. But the reasoning for taking him off at half-time last night was the hope that Jamie McGrath was going to give us a little bit of a better balance in midfield and more help to Cullen and Hendrick, maybe so, and more energy, because Daryl Horgan's been in and out of the team at Wickham even. He hasn't been playing every minute of every match. But we don't know. I don't know what Stephen's reasoning was on that. I thought he might bring on another a midfieldy player, but we've had a problem in that area of the pitch.
Yeah.
Wherever the combination in the central area of the pitch with Cullen, Hendrick, Malumbi when he's played, or Jason Knight. There always seems to be one of them a little bit further ahead of the ball. I thought that Hungary, the match in Hungary, where they were getting out all the time on the left hand side, where it was Jason Knight was the one more advanced from the midfield. So I think we're going to have a problem with this if he persists with wanting to play three frontish attacking type players. Whether he's happy with it or not, he keeps picking them. But the alternatives aren't brilliant. Collins has been just okay. He's got a couple of goals. Come on, sub. When he starts, he looks a bit cumbersome at times, and his touch is not the most subtle. I speculated yesterday, would Keane get a go? Would he do a bit of a mad one? But he didn't even get into the list as we saw Troy Parrott. So I think it's Stephen has learned a bit, you know.
What about Connolly, Brian, then? Is he just like, because he's kind of half been frozen out now after the backing he gave him?
After which game?
After the backing that he gave him up until the half time in the Azerbaijan game, I guess.
Yeah,
but they really weren't. They weren't happy with him in the Azerbaijan game. They weren't happy with the way he did his work rate. They weren't happy with that in the Azerbaijan game.
Yeah, well, I have felt from the start, you know, I admire the idea. Yes, give the young players. For too many years, we've had a dearth of young talent coming into our teams. It's been, you know, too many players around the 28, 29, 30 mark. 31 mark, and no one around the 21, 22, 23 mark. So I admire Stephen. Look, he's had to do it, and he's done it, and that's fair enough. Someone had to do it. It needs to be done, right? But I think he's on the other way in terms of, like, why have we got the results we've had so far? And, you know, Stephen pointed out and come up with the one yesterday. We only lost one game in the last 7, and isn't it great? Well, hold on here. Those 7 have been a draw with Qatar. You got a match with, and look, I watched Andorra last night. They'd struggle in the AOL Premier, the way Andorra played last night against England. A draw with Hungary before they went to the Euros. We lost to Portugal. We drew with Azerbaijan at home. And we drew with Serbia at home. Isn't a great 7, 3 friendly matches. Anyway, there's progress there. But to try to claim it's miles better than it was is not true. But I felt he was wrong in trying to play Parrott, Connolly, and Haidar, trying to get away with all those young players playing international level. Physically, mentally, technically, Goyle, they don't have it yet. They're not playing regularly at clubs. The reason they're not playing regularly at the clubs, they're better players at the clubs than they are. That's why Parrott has gone down the divisions to play.
He is learning on the job, Brian, isn't he? Like, because he's starting them 3 against Azerbaijan was a massive own goal. Yeah, well, I think so. And I wonder about the advice around them. And is there no one there that said, I'm not so sure about that? And what are you going to get from them? And, like, it's easy for us to say it after event, but before the event, I would have been saying that Connolly, there's a reason why he's not playing at Brighton. There's something not right with him. Whether it's his personality, whether it's his attitude, it's not as, maybe there's doubts about his fitness. He seems to go in and out of periods where he's out for a few weeks with a bit of hamstring trouble. There may be a physical thing there, but when he's playing and he's fit, it's not a physical thing because he runs very quick. He has great assets. Yeah. He has good technique, but mixed technique. It doesn't always work for him. There's a mental thing with him where if it doesn't start well, then it can get a bit worse. So, you know, there's something inherently missing with him at this stage of his development in his career. He's 21 and he's not playing for Brighton. He's an in and out. First match of the season, he's suddenly not in the squad on the first day. Something happened the day before the first game of the season with the manager. So is it an attitude thing with him? Has he got to improve on that? Maybe he has. Does he need better advice around him in terms of his attitude? You know, so you're relying on someone like that to get your results and major because he has ability, he has pace, he's troublesome to centre halves, he's aggressive. He's not a great team player. Doesn't make good choices on the ball. No, and I think Darryl Horgan's pass for the second goal.
Sorry, I'm going to have to wrap it all up. We're way over time. Apologies. Brian, I know you've got Virgin duty anyway. Thanks a million.
Joe, I probably went on a bit.
You never go on a bit. Would you stop? No, it was great.
Anyway.
That was super. Thanks so much, Brian. Brian Kerr with us there. Great to have him on. Football and Off the Ball brought to you by Sky. All the football you love in one place across Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports. Get to some of your texts next.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Sky. Watch every single live Premier League game on Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports.
60 minutes. That's half the time it takes to watch a decent movie. And let's be honest, ladies, it's about a third of the time it takes to get a professional colour cut and blow dry. At Bank of Ireland, we're all about your financial well-being. And 60 minutes is all it takes to start your pension and make your retirement lifestyle achievable. It's time to invest in you. Book a phone or virtual meeting today at bankofireland.com/pensions. Bank of Ireland. Begin. Bank of Ireland is a tied agent of New Ireland Assurance Company plc, trading as Bank of Ireland Life for life assurance and pensions business. Members of Bank of Ireland Group. Bank of Ireland trading as Bank of Ireland Insurance and Investments is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Every business is unique, with different needs and priorities. Whether it's a hybrid or full-time return to the office, a flexible workspace offers many solutions that can revolutionise how and where you work. So if you're an SME or a larger enterprise, we have customised workspaces to suit your business across 16 Dublin City locations. To find out more, visit iconicoffices.ie. Iconic Offices. Workspace as unique as you are.
I'd always dreamt of having children, but unfortunately things didn't go as we planned. After a year or so of trying, it turned out we needed help. We went to Beacon Care Fertility. They're experts in cutting-edge IVF and genetic screening, so we knew we'd be in safe hands. We could never thank them enough.
Beacon Care Fertility, pioneering IVF technology, proven success rates, where science meets life.
Red Hot Chili Peppers are back. Anthony, Chad, Flea and John, live on stage. World Tour 2022 with very special guests. Anderson .Paak and the Free Nationals and Thundercat. Marley Park, Dublin, June 29th. Tickets from $89.50 on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Additional charges may apply, subject to license. Check more at redhotchilipeppers.com.
Our taste master, Ed O'Donnell, spends every waking minute choosing cheese, obsessing over onions, sampling sea salt, and quite literally picking potatoes. Because nothing goes into new O'Donnell's Furrows, crinkle-cut crisps, until Ed says, perfect. O'Donnell's Furrows. Taste above all else.
You waited for it, and finally it's here. You asked for it, and we got it. Zara at Liffey Valley. For the latest in style and sustainable fashion, Zara has it. Shoes, accessories, and sportswear, Zara has it. Cosmetics, perfumes, and beauty products, Zara has it. Opening this November, Zara at Liffey Valley has everything you need. So come and get it. It's coming, it's happening, it's here. Zara at Liffey Valley. See liffeyvalley.ie for more.
On 106 to 108 FM, on newstalk.com, on smart speaker, and on the Newstalk app. This is Newstalk.
It's 2 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Bernadette Jemison. The Department of Health has reported 1,384 new cases of COVID-19 today. 382 patients are currently in hospital with the virus. That's an increase of 29 since yesterday. 74 people are now being treated in intensive care for COVID-19. The Fine Gael spokesperson on health is calling for a limit of 20 on the number of cigarettes that can be sold in a pack. There's currently a ban on selling packets containing less than 20